And we are live.
Awesome. What's up? Oh, there's Benny.
There it is. All right. So how are you guys doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm about to go to Japan in 2 days, so it's exciting.
Oh, nice. What are you doing there? Just
I'm
vacation?
so Hannah's going there to get Reiki certified, and I'm just gonna be there to work, and then from there we're gonna go to Bali for a couple weeks, and that's gonna be my first vacation in like 3 years, like true vacation. Because other places I've gone to, I've been like working too. So yeah, it's gonna be good.
Cool. Well, that's exciting.
Nice.
So what's new? Who has something they want to start with?
I mean, I have nothing on top of mind. What about you guys? I mean, I can bring something up, but
Let me see. I've got some. Well, I need some help. Maybe either of you guys can help me with. I need to find a boxing ring that I can film at. So like, if you guys do you know of any boxing gyms or anything that I might be able to get in there and film for like 30 minutes in a boxing ring?
no, but like if I was you and I was to do it, I'd walk in and I'd schmooze the front desk a little bit, and then
Yeah.
I kind of be like, yeah, I have this YouTube channel, and I'd show them, and you can see like how many subscribers you have, and be like, I was wondering if I could just like film like a little section in the corner or like around here. I think they'd be fine with it, like because they would be like, it's like free promotion for them, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, well, the thing is, I've got a videographer coming out, so I have to like get it scheduled ahead of time so I can get in there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I could try that on the day, but I tried emailing, I didn't get any response. But maybe I need to call some of these gyms.
Yeah, like
But
if I was a gym owner, I'd be like, and some YouTuber wanted to come film, I'd be like, all right, like what exactly are you doing, and like what's it gonna be, like how long, and I'd be chill with it personally if I owned a gym.
Yeah, I don't think it should be too hard, but okay, yeah, maybe I guess I'll try calling, or maybe I'll go visit in person. It's hard to find gyms that have actual boxing rings though too. That was the other thing. It's like
Oh, really?
punching bags, yes, but there's like a couple that I found that I saw in their Google images that they had rings. So, but yeah, my next video has just a little section in there about that I'm gonna do like with the boxing. The next video is gonna be kind of cool. I've got her actually, I'll screen share the script real quick. It's kind of a shorter one, but it's about this one's more on topic to my channel, which is three biggest insecurities that all men have. And it's going to start out with a skit. For the first time, I'm going to try like this coffee shop skit. I'm going to have Nicole in there. And then basically like, it's going to be this guy trying to talk to this girl and doing a poor job of it. And then,
is that like your inner narrative going on, where it's like, stop being a pussy? I just read that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is like the inner narrative going on, and then not many lines in it, but
I saw you from over there. I mean, here from over there. Yeah, I saw. I see what you're going for.
Yeah, so it's gonna come off like that, right? And then and then like at the end is like so do you come here off, she cuts him off mid-sentence, and then, look, you seem like a nice guy and everything, but I'm actually quite busy right now. And then it's like, then she's gonna say, I'm helping my husband shoot a video about the 3 biggest insecurities every man has and how to conquer them. And then that's gonna cut into my office, and then I'll introduce the video. So but the first part of it is gonna be like the fear of violence. So that's why I want the boxing gym. And then, I'll be like putting on my boxing gloves, climbing to the ring, shadow boxing. I get it hit to the face in slow motion. It'll be kind of cool. And then, so that's kind of that. It's a pretty short segment there. And then the second part is going to be like fear of not being a self-made man. And so that one will be like just kind of office setting. That's where I'll plug the financial freedom stuff. And then the fear of cold approach. That's the final.
Fear of women. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll just be telling a story, and then I'm gonna do a scene on the boardwalk where there's a lot of people around, kind of talking about, this fear and how to conquer it in my story. And then the end is that same coffee, it's that same two characters, except now, I'm the same character, but sitting on the bench with her super confident and relaxed. And then, so it kind of brings it all together. But
Love it. That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Can't wait to see all
Yeah,
these
sounds
videos.
like fun.
yeah, it's gonna be fun to shoot. I'm just nervous about the boxing ring thing, because that's like, I feel like it's not absolutely critical to the video, but it would definitely add a lot to it. So there's other ways I could kind of shoot it if I have to, but
I think you'll be able to get it one. I think you'll be able to get it.
yeah, okay, cool. But yeah, I've been working on mostly YouTube stuff. We've got the first video is just about to come out. It's finished finally. And
I can't wait.
Went through like 5 versions.
I know,
of
right?
edits.
I felt like it's been so long. I'm like been waiting for it. It's like all this hype.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty solid. I think it went through like 5 versions of edits and
How many
stuff.
how many thumbnails ideas did you create for it? Or
I'm still waiting on I've got my thumbnail guy working on thumbnails. That's the one thing that's holding me back from releasing it. Let me see if he's replied back yet. I don't see anything yet, but yeah, I told him to create basically 6 initial thumbnails, with the same kind of theme. It's like a close-up of my face, focus on my eye, my pupil. You can see the picture of me exhausted and broken, a wedding ring, mysterious blurred out girl, and the words divorce. So I want him to create 6 versions of that, and then from there I'll kind of probably make some tweaks to it till we get it just right. But
love it.
but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I like for my channel, like if I my thumbnails are like if you were to go to the channel, the Mayor channel, it's like they're solid, right? But like I think I've noticed a lot of thumbnails are not using text on the thumbnail as much anymore.
Yeah.
And it's just like a picture, like at least a lot more, like pretty much 80% of thumbnails had text on it. Now it's like 50-50, I feel like. For at least the videos that get sent to me. So I'm just wondering if like I should switch things up myself. Like the click-through rate's not bad, but like it's like being creative around a thumbnail is like it's really hard. Like Mr. Beast, I know he's like the example everyone uses, but like he spends so much time and money on it. So it's like comparison. Like I hear, and in the course I'm in, like he says, start with the title and the thumbnail, and the idea before you write the script. And I never do that. I always try to think after. So are you starting with a thumbnail and title on these videos or no?
Sort of. Like, I don't write the script until I have the title and thumbnail kind of idea figured out, but I still have the idea of the video. I'm not having the title and thumbnail drive the entire, video, like the, but I guess that's probably what he means. I can't imagine someone would actually like just come up with title and thumbnail ideas and then make a video completely based off of that. But yeah, I think with the thumbnail, I've been working with, kind of studying this and then working with some of my coaching clients on it too. It's like that the title and thumbnail together comprise one thing and you have to really get the curiosity in there. So it's kind of interesting. Like I was looking at, Kazi from Simple Programmer, because he was, from Clever Programmer, he was doing the he's doing some YouTube coaching now, and he had some examples he wanted me to look at of what he was teaching people with thumbnails, and he had like 3 different versions of a thumbnail. I can't remember exactly what
Hang
it was,
on,
but it was
he's
basically
doing YouTube coaching.
yeah.
Clever Programmer. He's also doing programming stuff.
Well, he's doing his own brand, his Rafa Kazi brand now. He wants to do his personal brand and do YouTube coaching under there.
So he's not doing the programming business anymore.
He still is, but he's like, I told him to stick to one thing, but he really wants to do his personal brand thing too. So I don't know, but anyway, he had good thumbnail. Like he basically had like, if you had a fitness channel, maybe your thumbnail might be, or you might have a title and thumbnail where it's like, essentially, this do this stretch, or this is how you do this kind of stretch or this plyometric exercise, right? And it's like, that's the worst. And then the medium one was like, if you want to gain more muscle, do this, which was better, right? And then the best one was how to throw a punch like Mike Tyson, right? So it's like, that was the best possible. So it's almost like just figuring out what's the thing that's going to create the most curiosity, and as opposed to telling someone exactly what it is, how do you create the most curiosity with that, where they're intrigued, that they're going to want to click it, they're going to want to figure out what is this about, as opposed to, I think a lot of times the default that we have for creating thumbnails and titles is to describe what the video is about, and it's almost like it's got to not necessarily do that, but when you click it, it makes sense that what you see in the first segment of the video fits with the thumbnail, but it's still creating that open loop. But he had a good idea. He was going to train people by having all these different thumbnails, and then you kind of sort which ones are the best thumbnails. And then I think that makes sense, because if you visually see it over and over again, then you kind of can identify what makes a good thumbnail.
Yeah.
But but that's and then what's his name, Nikhil, who I think he does really good with his stuff, Captain Sinbad. He said that what he does for his thumbnails is he always looks for a movie poster for like a movie that kind of fits what his video is about, and then he kind of duplicates that movie poster, which makes a lot of sense if you think about it, because a movie is going to have a huge amount of money put into the movie poster. So they're getting a very specific shot for a specific reason to invoke a specific feeling in a person. So
it's a good idea. That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
So like you try to think of like a movie that maybe matches up with your video idea, and then like look at posters similar to that.
Yeah, like if we look at his channel, you can kind of see his videos, like this clearly came from a movie poster, right? Like, I don't know what movie, but that one certainly did. I don't know about this one, but this one probably did too, right? That looks like a romantic comedy, right?
Yeah.
Like this one too, probably. So
And he's basically copied the woman can smell the retention on you on that top one. It's pretty much.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Exactly the same. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's very similar, but it's like, I guess what he was saying, and what a lot of people have been saying about it, is it's like you can capture like the emotion in there. Like people are doing exaggerated thumbnails where it's like, oh, I'm surprised. And it's like, but you don't really need to do that. You just need to have a thought in your head, and that expression will show up on your face. And that seems more authentic and is more intriguing to people. So, but yeah, he's got really good thumbnails.
Yeah.
Especially if you notice too that actually I just noticed this pattern. I wonder if he if he even saw this. Check this out. The videos that have the most views, they have something in common.
A woman
like,
in it.
Yeah, him interacting with a woman, like every
Yeah.
single one of them. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Huh.
Yep. I mean, his audience is probably into, I mean, he did NoFap in the beginning, and so I'm sure he has a bit large, people are interested in like dating NoFap.
Yeah. So yeah. So what's going on with you guys?
I've been like, you guys know the book Rocket Fuel, right? The visionary integrator idea in companies. Talked about that before. I'm trying to think of like how I want to step more into the visionary role, and I feel like I haven't been doing that because I've been working in the business instead of on the business. But I mean, I can read what the visionary's role is, and then tell you guys like what do you think like day by day tasks are, and what I was thinking. So like the visionary role include like closing the biggest deals, solving the company's biggest issues, communicating the company's vision to the employees and inspiring them, engaging and maintaining the company's big relationships, and overseeing the company's organization vision. It's like, I think for me, it's like those like are like picking big initiatives in like different departments, like a marketing initiative or a campaign, like ideas for that, or like, oh, like, well, I want to like write a book now, or like start the podcast. I mean, those are just like small examples, but like, do you guys have any idea of like how to start like adding value through that kind of role in the company? Like how I could do that?
I mean, I would say that you can't do that unless you have someone else doing all the other stuff, right? It's
Yeah,
almost
I mean,
like-
exactly. I'm working with that. So like we're hiring, I'm gonna hire like 2 coaches for our, so I can free up, because I've been doing a lot of coaching calls. And so that's happening. And then I'm like looking for an assistant too. So I'm definitely gonna start freeing up more time.
What about the content creation?
What about it?
Well, I mean, that's not visionary stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I'm not going to solely focus on visionary role, but I haven't been spending any time on it. And like my personality 100% aligns as a visionary. So I think I can add a lot more value to the company through that role. If you guys don't know, if you guys read Rocket, if you haven't read Rocket Fuel, I guess it doesn't.
The Gino Wickman. But
Yeah.
I mean, I would say though that like you're gonna have to be fully in the visionary role.
You think so?
I think so. I mean, I think whatever you're doing, you should be fully in it. If you're doing content production, just focus solely on content production. If you're doing visionary, just focus solely on the visionary role. and
Yeah,
follow that
I
up.
guess
But
so
a
the way-
business is not always in a stage where the way they define it as a visionary or the quote unquote ideas of visionary are always just like that's all you need to do and everything else will be taken care of itself. Because if you don't have like money generating activities not being taken care of, then visionary role keeps getting pulled back into that all the time.
Right.
So marketing and sales may not always be visionary's top priority. That becomes a thing. So it's evolutionary.
But the question is, I mean, based on that, which I agree, I would say, do you even need a visionary role until you're at the point where those things
Well,
are?
it's more of a realization that that's who you are. Like I realize that's who I am,
Oh, I see.
but that doesn't mean that I can give up a lot of the things in my business yet. But whenever I'm trying to give up those things, I do try to give up a lot of the operations and the fulfillments and things like that I just don't want to do. So I can have the, like, I don't like systems stuff. I don't like operations stuff. I don't like any of those. So the person in charge of my operations, she can handle most of those things, or I have to continue to teach. So I can step more and more into the visionary role. So it's more, in my mind, it's evolutionary in the sense, okay, there's another step I took today in that role by training that person or training the team to do more of the integration stuff. It's not like a one day I just say I'm doing visionary and no more. That's how I've seen it happen.
Well, in that case, it would be based on like you'd be bringing visionary into the role that you're doing right now, as opposed to. So that would mean like if you're a visionary, let's say in content creation, if that's what your focus was, then that would mean that you're coming up with the big ideas. Maybe you're recording the videos, but you've got someone else who's handling maybe some of the script writing or the thumbnails and the production of like all of the producing the video, where you're coming up with the idea of it and conceptualizing it. And
I mean, you can almost think of it on a project basis or on a company basis. Any project can have the quote unquote visionary and the people who execute, or the people who are in operations and integration role, or you can think of it from the company overall perspective.
Yeah, I guess. Okay. Yeah, no, I see where my thinking is like kind of like linear. And then you guys are saying it doesn't have to be that way. It can kind of like, it doesn't have to be all at once, or it can be different parts of the company. Yeah, I guess I was just looking for more of like I think I'm just overthinking it too much, probably. I think it's just like I just spend more time just like thinking of these things, like where the market's
I think
going.
even if you can, so the way I have, like when I read the book and I've been trying to use more and more of it. It's more like, how can I spend even 1% more of time in the visionary role and give up 1% more of the integrator role to the person who can take it? Because it's not like a on-off switch, given how much, you are involved in the, or as a founder, you have to be involved in the business.
Mhm, mhm.
So that's why I said it's evolutionary, not revolutionary.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So I haven't really closed on the decision on hiring the agency staff.
Oh, yeah.
A whole bunch of them. Also talked to someone who wants to do. Dude, I've had some really interesting experiences. Some guys wanted to charge me $75,000 for overhauling my funnel, and they are like 2 Comma Club X winners. They've built some heavy duty funnels, and he, the guy on the sales call, was just giving me advice, and I was like, "No, dude, you're wrong. Like, this is just bad advice." He's like, "You're selling annual, but have you considered selling monthly? Like, it would be so much better to have like a monthly, payments coming in every month and this and that." And I'm like, "You obviously have no idea what a membership site is and how hard it is to sell annual versus monthly. And if you have something that works out like this stuff like that." And I'm like, "Seriously, you're gonna charge me $75,000 to overhaul my funnel, and you're giving me such stupid advice?" I was like, "Oh man." But now I've talked to like 7, 8 different agencies of different kinds, all the way from like straight up just do Facebook ads for me, to try to design the whole funnel, to design, like, not only design but operate the back end, uh, not fulfillment, but more like back end upsell sequences and all of that stuff, all the way to design pages, design the funnel, design the website, branding, and all those things included. And after having all those conversations, I'm like, I don't know if I need any of those right, or if I should take up any of those. So back to where I started 2 weeks ago on this journey.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of like we were talking about. I'm still of the mind that what's the one thing, right? Which, if you create how many ads and you have another ad that reaches that level of performance that, like we're talking about, that's the one thing that moves you to the next. And then once you get there, then you look and say, what is the next one thing? And eventually maybe that leads you to the road of hiring a agency. But I don't think it doesn't seem like that's the one thing right now.
That's an interesting, how do you identify if that is one thing? Because I was running some spreadsheets, some numbers of like what all happens, because we have so many different stages in the journey now: the front end funnel, the activation and retention, then the referrals, upsell, all of that. Like, when I look at all of those numbers, if we push the boundary on each of those numbers, what's the best case scenario for any of them? And yeah,
I mean, yeah, what if you pick just one of those that you think is the most impactful or fun to work on, and just tackle that one thing? And, and then once you get that done, then see where you're at and see what the next thing makes sense. Right. As opposed to trying to because if you try to hire an agency and, because I've been there before, right? Hiring marketing people, hiring agencies, right? Even just when I hired Tim to do all the marketing, it was like, yeah, he was creating lots of funnels and lots of emails and lots of stuff, but it didn't, like, it wasn't one metric that we were working on, right? I think, if you just pick one specific thing and just focus on that one specific thing, maybe you bring in a marketing expert to help you improve that one. But imagine how your calls would go with the marketing agencies or consultants, even if you're just like, look, all I'm trying to hire you for is I have right now, our upsell rate is 10%. I want to get it up to 25%. That's all your job is. Then you could evaluate them very easily. And the objective would be really simple. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you just have one metric that you're just trying to get someone to do, whether you do it yourself or you hire someone to do it, I think that makes things a lot easier.
Yeah. So what I've been working with on like with the team and stuff with last, especially for March now, I realized that we have so many phases of that webinar funnel that we could improve, from front end ads all the way to the back end upsells and all those things. So what I settled on after kind of going back and forth is like, we need to get our new website up and running. So that's really crucial, because that website up and running allows us to have much better performance on ads too, because the domain that the ads are coming from make a lot more, allow for a lot more congruence. Right now it's like 2,000 books. Hard to correlate that to focus box, right? So we're getting the website, so the website up and running, the social media. Here's what I'm thinking: like, get the website up and running and the social media platforms up and running, and then also improving all of our backend, like upsell sequences, referral sequences, white label sequences, and backend email marketing funnels for the backend webinar. And once we have all of that dialed in, then come April, I only have one thing to do, which is go back and work on ads, and then just streamline the hell out of ads. Because not streamline, just keep writing more ads, because then all of this stuff that's holding us back will just be cleaned up. And then we can just do one thing, which is ads. I can personally do one thing and let the team handle a lot of these things.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. But then I'm like, okay, do I hire an agency who can do what I'm trying to do? Because I was looking at all the numbers. So I built a spreadsheet and I looked at all the numbers, like the whole entire funnel, like everything, not just the front end, but front end, back end, one, back end, two, everything. And I looked at like all the data, and like right now our lead cost is around $13-14. And if we go upsell all the way to like 10% upsells, which is pretty good for most people, 10% of people taking the next level upsell, and then 20% people referring us, which is, which would be also pretty good. If all of those were working, even then we couldn't do as good as if we just reduce our lead cost from $14 to $7. If all we did was reduce our lead cost from 14 to 7, everything else would be really like, that's like such a big needle mover that none of those things would matter.
If you can reduce your lead cost from 14 to 7.
Yeah, which is really hard to do, but understanding like that thing has a huge leverage point. But it'll be hard to do with the 2000 books moniker and the 2000 books brand now, because we're kind of exhausting that 2000 books names value in this business in some ways.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the only problem is it's really hard to measure. Well, I mean, I guess if you create the new website, what's the KPI that you're measuring? It would be, I mean, well, okay. So the theory,
still CPA,
right? Well, so your theory, you have a theory, right? Your theory is that you're getting a higher cost per click, let's say, or cost per acquisition, because not
cost per acquisition. Yeah, right? Not just click, but lead cost, all of those things possibly. Yeah.
You're getting a higher cost per acquisition because they're going to a 2000 books domain with a site that's not optimized, that doesn't have a good design.
It's not like 2000 books has nothing to do with focus box, if you think about it, right?
So, like, but that's the theory, right? That's the theory.
Yeah.
So, or the hypothesis, right? So to test that hypothesis, you need to change one thing, which is get a new website. Well, actually, there's a couple things to change, right? So one would be the domain itself. and the second would be the design of the site. So I would break it down into 2 tests. The very first thing I would do, which is real simple for you to test, is take the exact same website you have right now and just change the domain.
Right. So that's the simplest thing that
Right.
is going to roll out pretty quickly. So that's
then-
happening very soon. But then also the social media pages from which these things are being directed, the names of those will have to change too.
Right.
So
So just
you see what I'm
changing the
saying?
name. But then you
Change
can
the name.
measure
I'm not going to change that.
you can measure the CPA on that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But not to say that this stuff doesn't need to be done. Irrespective, this stuff has to be completed, like a rebrand of the business because of the naming and like the legacy effect of what 2000 books is versus what the real new business is now stands for.
I mean, I would say that it should be done at some point, but
Yeah.
whether it has to be done will be determined
Well,
by
there's
the test, right? It's
yeah,
like-
yeah, but it's one of those things like how much should I really test this thing because it's already something that needs to be done. I should just go for it and do. Like what I'm thinking is like I want to clean up all of this gunk in the business that like when I
You
talk to
sound like
all of
you sound like me, like I used to sound like.
no. Okay, so I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
But when I was talking to a lot of these agencies and I realized one of the most basic things that's like kind of very confusing to any agency guy is like, okay, so what's this 2000 books thing? What's happening there?
yeah.
How's this related? Like, why is this thing here? And they're like, oh man, this itself should give you a huge bump. Like this doesn't, like there's no alignment here, and that alignment would should be really useful. So that's one thing you can totally like, we can handle it for you and blah, blah, blah. So that was a constant, like, this is a simple thing that'll move the dial for you. So I'm
But,
not saying,
Yeah,
I'm not saying that I know the exact outcome of something like that in terms of the bump we'll get. But I think the more now we're going into like scaling this, it's going to be harder and harder to scale something where the front end and the name and the nomenclature and all of those things that just don't mesh, right?
I think
We
that's
can
true.
find the early adopters who will take a solution no matter how janky the inner like the sales process is, as long as it speaks to them. But at some point we have like we have to transition to like a more sophisticated trusted look and feel that allows us to sell better and sell in a more trusted environment.
I still say that's a hypothesis because
It's about even like even dude, even
But
on
you have to
strike,
test it,
like
yeah.
we get people like who are like suddenly when their annual payment strikes after a
Like,
year,
oh,
they're
yeah.
like, oh, what is this 2000 books charge?
right.
I'm like, oh man, yeah, it's focus box. So now I have to go back and explain, and all of that shit has to happen. So I
Yeah.
could see so many things like it's just falling off at the seams. The only thing that works, to be honest, is like the webinar and ads are decent enough that they're carrying the weight of everything else.
Yeah.
Is what's happening in
just-
the business right now.
It's a variable how much it affects it, right? So it's like you could look at Craigslist, right? And they're probably like Craig was probably like, oh shit, yeah, we need to redesign this web page, but not right now. Not right now. Not right now. It's still never it's redesigned, right? It's still but it's fine. It never needed to be redesigned, right? So that
Well,
wasn't
I agree with that. And I'm not so much thinking about the redesign as the rebrand, right?
Right.
Naming.
Yeah.
That's the thing I'm worried about. Design work, I can still let it be. But brands, I feel like it has to move on to what it needs to be.
Yeah.
Like design work, I don't mind if we just copy the entire website over to a new domain and just let it be. I'd be okay for the time being, for the next more than a month or so while we do this. But I think like if we clean up all of this stuff, like the front end, back end, and the emails, and all of this, and we're going to roll out a Circle community, a community as well now.
Yeah.
Not Facebook community or anything. So all of that combined should allow us to be a lot more. Then I can just do the ads thing without feeling like, oh, our 2000 books brand is holding us back.
yeah, it makes sense. I mean, yeah. It's
No,
just a
I'm
question of
just-
how much will it matter.
Yeah, no, you're right about the fact that is it 10%, is it 20%, is it 30%? We don't know.
Right.
and we won't know like until it coheses in a certain way. But then the question, do I need a agency? Do I need a marketing agency? Or do I need a funnel build agency or anything like that?
I mean, well, what's the simplest way you can do this and test this, right? This easy thing to do is to change the domain and keep the same web pages up, which you could do immediately, right? That could be done in a very short amount of time. And then the next thing would be to create some kind of actual branding and logo for
Yeah,
Focus Block
yeah.
service.
Yeah, yes and no, because I would have to modify the webinar and the calls to action in the webinar and all of those things will like percolate up. So there's a lot of like it goes dev very deep. Even the links inside the webinar will change.
Why would the
So I
links in
will
the
have
webinar change? Because they're
2000books.com/something something is the call to action.
but they're hard coded in the webinar.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I don't know if this even makes sense at all at this point yet. I mean, I
I
think
mean,
it
it
does
has
eventually
to be
make sense,
done. Has to be done. The only question
but
is,
yeah.
how long will I wait to get it done?
but
Because
what? Yeah,
I if I want to drive my ad costs down, like having a cohesive brand, a trusted brand, something that coheses all the way from ad to the sales point is going to be an integral part of driving costs down, driving our CPS down. Not only that, like white label, corporate plans, possibilities, um, referrals, all of those things keep and upsells and upsell trustworthiness and all of those things keep. I feel like this part of the business has to be handled for us to move past the stage we've been in.
what if you do this then? What if you don't hire a marketing agency? You just hire a web design agency
Yes, that's what
and
I've been.
and
That's
branding,
what I've been
because
working on. Yeah.
they're less likely to bullshit you, right? Because what they have to do is it's very objective. It's not subjective like marketing is, right? So if you're like, hey,
Mhm.
I want a website, it needs to be, focus blocks, branding, colors,
Mhm.
theme, all this stuff that matches up. I want this design like this, come up with some mock
Exactly.
designs, and then they do all
Exactly.
that. And yeah, I mean, maybe their price tag, you might be $10,000-$15,000 if you get a good, a really good one to design everything, maybe less, but I would imagine somewhere around there. And then it's all done for you. And that's something that you can have
Yeah.
done for you that you don't have to worry about, because it's not a complicated asset.
Manny,
Yeah,
this may
that's
seem like off topic, like hopefully it doesn't seem off topic to you, but like what is like the longer term goal for the business? Like, do you have that like number in your head, or like your BHAG, if you will, like the long term goal?
okay. So I think 2000 books is not part of the long-term vision. Right? 2000 books stays as it is. There's no more effort I'm putting into that business. So all my effort is going into focus blocks and Quantum Leap. Those are the only things I care about, and that's the only business I care to grow at this time. So it has to be under that brand. 2000 books brand doesn't exist in my mind anymore, except for people who might be coming from legacy sources, organic traffic, and things like that.
But like, what's the like long term measurable goal? Like as an example, ours is like 1 million customers.
Yeah, no, I don't have a number like that in my head, to be honest, right now.
Okay. So I
Um,
was gonna help you work backwards from there, and then we work backwards from like 5, 1 year, and then third 90-day goal, right? Like, I think that'll be helpful to see like where you should focus first. Because I mean, if your
yeah,
goal is revenue, then you can just clearly determine like, okay, if I spend this X amount of time, and this is the potential upside of the back end stuff versus like making ads, like, you can just measure that against each other. But if your goal is impact or whatever, it's like, I think that depends. That's where you focus, where you should focus your time is like what
I don't necessarily separate revenue and impact, to be honest. I think they go hand in
they're
hand.
correlated. Sure.
That's why I don't really think so much about them as separate entities in any way. Like we can only have impact if we sell to more people. If we
See,
don't
here's
sell
the
to more
thing.
people, they can't they will never see the difference in their lives.
I've never seen someone, I don't believe in the like the long-term goal setting, because I've never seen someone actually set it and succeed at it, right? So I've never seen someone say, all right, my vision is to make this company do $10 million a year, and we're going to break this down and how we're going to do it, and then they actually do it. I've never seen that ever happen. I mean, I'm not saying that it never happens, but it's interesting, like Michael Singer, right? The Surrender Experiment, right? If you look at his story and how he grew his business, he literally just took it one step at a time. It was just like, okay, well, what makes sense to do next? All right, and he did that, and then it got to that point just by continually taking that step. And that's where I've been leaning more towards, because as I've tried to do the long-term planning myself too, like every single vision I've ever had, it never has worked out, right? From the
Well-
bigger scope, long-term thing. But every time that I've said, all right, what makes sense for me to do right now, and just focus on that one thing, and then said, once that was done, looked at the next thing, that's always worked better.
So I think there's a very interesting quote that I don't know who said it, but it says, plans by themselves are not really that useful, but the act of planning is very important.
Yeah.
So what that means is like, yeah, that vision that you have for out there, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever that might be, it may not be visualized, it may not be realized the way you have thought today, or the way you might have planned today. It may not get realized that way, but a vision can still be realized if you have some sort of effort towards it. But if you're going to say like, yeah, you're going to lay out the perfect plan to realize a vision 10 years from now, that's not going to happen. I agree with you. And that's why, like, you can have a vision, but you have to bring it down to what you need to get done this quarter, or even this month, or even actually this week. But I think a month and a quarter and a week are really about the perfect timeframes for any kind of execution effort.
Yeah, I think like John, I disagree with you. Like, I think it's a combination of both, man. Like, I think you do start with the vision at the end, like the end in mind, and you have this North Star, like you have this why you're doing this. Like, why are you waking up and spending hours focusing on this tedious thing or whatever? And I think it moves you forward, but then you also let go of the outcome at the same time. Like, this is what I want, but I'm just gonna like enjoy the ride. And you guys you probably know this. Like, it's not the achieving of goals that creates satisfaction. It's the pursuit of those goals, right? And so, I'm asking Manny to like this decision of what ads agency or what decision this. It's like, it's also, I can see he's like, like kind of stressing out about it. It's like, well, why are you doing this? Why are you making this decision? Like, what is the whole purpose for all this? That's what I'm kind of
to grow the business.
Why?
To grow the business, to really to have more people. Like, I see what you're trying. I see what we're saying.
Just
here, but
indulge me for a second.
frankly,
Like,
the
I really
only
don't
thing-
know.
the
why
only
you
thing
do
is to
this.
grow the business, to have more people using Focus Block. That's it.
Why is that important?
Why is that important?
Yeah,
Because I want more people to use something that I've created.
just indulge me just for a couple seconds. Like, why is that important for people to use something that you created? Like, why care?
Because it changes their life.
And it's important for you to change people's lives because
Because I get joy out of it.
there you go. You enjoy
Yeah,
it.
but that's something that's like, I agree with you on that. But like,
I didn't know that
think,
about you. Like, I didn't know if you were just doing this for the money. Like, I didn't know that until now.
but I still believe money and that go
Money's
hand in
great.
hand. I never assume that I'll just be able to bring joy to, like, I'll be able to change people's lives without them paying money.
I think maybe the way to connect this back is to look at what's the underlying principle that guides all business decisions, right? Something like that. Like, for example, right, when Southwest was like, does this make the fare cheaper? Does this like, what I mean, does this do we need this, right?
One
They're
guiding
like,
question, yeah.
it's, and the thing about something like that is it's not a moral or ethical or what do you call it, where there's no motive to it. It is just a guiding principle, right? It's not, you're not attaching anything else to it. Because I think it's like, if someone asks you like, why do you want to grow the business, no one's going to want to say because I want more money. But if we really examine our motives, probably more than 50% of it is because we want to make more money, right? Like that's right. But it's not something that you really want to tie everything to, and you kind of feel this obligation to connect it to some higher or ideal. And it's not like we don't have higher ideals, ideals that we are connected to. It's just that I think it's easier to connect to a guiding principle to say, this is how I want to run the business. This is how I want the ethics or the personality of this business to be, and then connect it to that thing, and then make the decisions through that filter. This way we don't have to be altruistic, because it's hard to be altruistic and run a business.
Well, okay, so this is a really interesting conversation. We're going down a really interesting path. The only way to be altruistic is to run a business, in my opinion. What I mean by that is the only way to change the world is to have a business that can change people's lives. And what I really mean by that is the only way I can help someone is if they pay me money, and then I can change their life.
Yeah, but which is true. I mean, I think that's true. But still, if someone offered you $50 million for your business, you'd be like, okay.
Yeah, I will.
Right.
Well, then I'll
Like,
go and create some new business, right? I'll create
Right.
some new business
Some-
to allow
some-
me the same kind of fun to be had in the process.
Right.
At
But if
that
someone
point, like,
offered
money
you-
will become less valuable, and you'll start
Yeah.
to think of other things.
I think it changes though if someone offered you $10 billion for your business.
$10 billion.
Right.
Yeah.
That
What do you mean?
Then-
It changes what?
I mean, then you don't go out and create a new business.
Do you not though? Like you would, because there's more fun to be had
You-
by building a business than by just sitting around and doing nothing.
I don't know. I feel like maybe you would create some art or something, right?
I don't. I'm not an artist.
Like it's
I'm not an artist.
your business would be an art. You see what I'm saying? It's like it changes the fundamental nature of things where
I mean, if you look at
John's
all
just
the
in
other,
monk mode.
yeah. No, but if you look at like anyone like Elon Musk,
John's
or
been
any of these
microdosing on
guys,
mushrooms
not to,
recently the past couple days.
not to say that we're any Elon Musk, but like anyone who makes that kind of money will go back and go create
Yeah,
something new
I
all
remember
over
the
again.
owner of Snapchat talked about that. Like I saw him on like a live show. Like he made his money at like billions at like what 24, 25, and then he like, it's a common thing in Silicon Valley. People like make their billions or millions. It's like they have to do something again. They can't just chill.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're going to do something. The question is like what you're going to do, as I'm saying, is going to be
Some people will just become investors, and they'll just be like, investment is their way of,
That's true.
enjoying
Consultants and investors,
next- yeah, their next
sitting on a board.
phase.
Yeah.
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 But if someone just gave you the money today, you wouldn't have that feeling of satisfaction of like building something all the way, right?
Yeah,
You would
of
probably
course,
want to
of
go
course.
back and start something again because you want to feel satisfied about building something all the way. Like there's a sense of satisfaction. That's why when Josh was asking that question, part of me, the real answer is like the joy of building something from scratch is
Right.
so much more than like the fact that there's an altruistic thing behind it. It's not like it's not altruistic in my opinion. To me, like I'm not trying to, like, I'm doing this because it gives me so much joy to build something from scratch, even though it's the most
Right.
frustrating thing in the world, but also to see that I'm like people's lives are changing every time we do this. So all of that is fun for me. So I'm doing it for the fun of
Right.
it, to be honest.
But
Everything
see,
else is like
yeah.
whatever. It's
That's
it's gravy
that's
at the
the
top
art.
of it. Yeah.
That's exactly what art is, though, right? It's
But
like
that's business.
I built
right?
I built something and other people are using it.
Yes.
I drew
Exactly.
something and other people are looking at it, right? It's like
Yeah.
I made a
No,
video
you're
and other
right.
people are watching it.
But you have to have that, whatever that art is in, or whatever that kind of art is in you, you go play with that art, right?
Right.
And I know I have no art in me of any kind other than, can I create something different than what I have created again? So again, have some fun. And to be honest, like life would not feel very fun if we didn't go through the process of taking this all the way as far as we can. Like
Right,
it would feel
exactly.
very unfulfilling if we like stopped halfway and we like gave it to someone else and we're like, now
Yeah.
what? I have to go start something from scratch and build it all over again. Right. So it's fulfillment, it's joy. It's just the journey of doing this is more important than anything else, me personally. I do this for the journey, for just
Yeah.
joy of figuring this out and being better than my competitors and so on and so forth. Yeah.
Good talk.
uh, yeah, but I think that even like it's interesting if you go back to the Steve Jobs conversations about Apple and all of those things. It basically goes down to his idea of what he wants to do with his business, and he never really talked about altruism as a
Right.
thing. He almost always was like against that idea. He's like, my job is to build the best damn thing that people will use and people will, get excited about. And that's what's fun for me, and that's what's fun for people.
Right.
And I think the most selfish thing we do is also the most helpful thing for the world.
Right. Because it's, again,
Because
it comes down to art. It's your art.
the most selfish thing is the one that gives you the most joy, and the thing that gives you the most
Right.
joy is going to also bring the most joy to the world.
Right.
Because if you do things that don't bring you joy, you can never bring joy to others either. So we're going very philosophical here. Yeah.
Sorry, I tend to drive conversations that direction.
No, it's good. It's good. I like that stuff more than tactical. So, yeah.
Did
So,
you? Yeah. Okay.
so do I have an answer for marketing agency? No, I don't.
Did you ever solve your problem, Josh?
I mean, it's gonna get resolved eventually, but no, it's I'm not putting a lot of energy and attention into it. And like I
Yeah.
went through and I created like salaries for each position I have within the company. And there's just I knew there was gonna be a huge discrepancy between what he thought versus what I thought. And so it'll get resolved eventually. One way or another. It's funny, like I was like super stressed. This is kind of an epiphany for me, you guys. Like I was super stressing about it for a very long time. And it's not resolved, but the stress is gone. And I realized that the stress was coming from the thought that there was no end to it. But
Oh,
knowing
yeah.
that there's going to be an end to it is what relieved the stress. That was just like a huge like epiphany for me, that like a lot of stress comes from like, and like anger is like blocking of a goal, or like the lack of, I think the overall lesson from today is like the movement forward in life is what like brings happiness, right? And then that stopping of it is what causes stress and pain and anger and frustration. It's like when we can't move.
Progress.
Yeah. So as long as you're moving towards some direction, that's the important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. And you think about that even like physiologically, like, right? Like not just emotionally, but like you're just stuck, like stuck in the same place for too long. You're sitting down in the same room all day. Like it's not good for your mental health either. Right. So like movement is just, very important psychologically and physically.
So, yeah, no, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Progress is the ultimate motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're all trying to create in our businesses. Just better than what we were yesterday.
That's why I can't.
It's like, and it's so funny. It's like we have like a lot of people, especially nowadays, like you look on YouTube, it's like, how do you make $1 million as fast as you can? $1 million, $1 million, $1 million, $1 million. And it's like, for me, it's like, I see why people want that, but it's so arbitrary, because like having that number in your bank account is just like little digital numbers. Like how much are you going to use it? It's just like, so they can have the identity of I'm valuable because I have $1 million, right?
Right.
It's like an ego like thing. You know what I mean? Like most people, you don't use more than $50,000 a year, if that, depending on the person lifestyle. But I would say the average, like how much do you expend per year? Like for me, I've been cutting back expenses a lot because I was looking at I downloaded Rocket Money. That's how much money I've been spending. I was like, holy shit, I need to start tracking how much money I'm spending. I spent so much money. But anyways, like I think $50,000 a year is like, you have more than a good enough lifestyle, like 50, 60. If you have kids, it gets more, stuff like that. But
Yeah.
So I think money is just the scoreboard. It's not necessarily the money itself that's driving that thought for a lot of people. But it's like, if I have achieved that means I have created some level of business success for myself, and I've figured some stuff out for myself. But I mean, just the arbitrary number doesn't really matter. But
you created a lot of value in society, right? Like your impact, you're helping a lot of people. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So you can measure it either ways. You can measure it by saying I have $10,000, like I have 10 million, I have $1 million a year, or million. So I have $1 million MRR, or I have 100,000 active customers. The same thing. right? Same thing,
Mhm.
but different people measure it different ways.
Yeah.
I can say, oh, I want to touch 10,000 lives, but really all I want to do is say, I want to have $1 million MRR. Same thing.
Mhm.
To someone who is on the altruistic end, I should say 10,000 lives. When I'm in a business setting where everyone's talking numbers, I should be like, yeah, aiming for $1 million MRR.
Mm.
Right? Exact same thing.
All right, I guess wrap it up.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Have a
Alright,
great
cool.
weekend, you guys. I'll see you guys. I'll see if I can make it. I'm not sure what time it is in Japan
Oh
at
yeah.
9 a.m. here, but
Alexa, what time is it in Japan right now?
Japan 9 a.m. is usually 5 p.m. San Diego.
I should be able to do it depending on
Okay.
on that Friday. But I'll let you guys know. All right.
All right.
No.
All right.
No. Japan 9 a.m. is San Diego 5 p.m. So that's not gonna happen.
9 a.m. is 5. Hold on. But what time? San Diego 9 a.m. is what we need to know.
Yeah, so you roll it back by 8 hours. That's gonna be like 1
Okay,
or
so
2
it's
a.m.
3.
right
It's
now.
2 a.m.
Oh,
right now.
oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Well, I won't see you guys on Friday then.